Hello YouTube, I'm Gigi Alive and welcome to my channel. I am a person who does videos that are vlogs, so if this is your first time, I just basically am going to do a video about what's been happening with my life and an update on what's been going on. The last video I did was about my cardiac ablation, radiofrequency ablation surgery. I had that done exactly 10 days ago. It's the 18th of February 2021, and I am still recovering from it. This surgery is a surgery to help me, excuse me, to have a correction of my arterial fibrillation, and I also have supraventricular tachycardia, which is a high heart rate with that. The surgery is not an invasive surgery. They're not cutting you open. They go in with catheters. I'm still recovering from, this is where they went in through my wrist, right here. And I'm still recovering from this. And also they went in with 3 catheters in my groin on the left side and 2 on my right side. And I'm still having some soreness from that. The doctor said that I won't be completely healed for 2 to 3 months, where I'll be hopefully off my medication by then. I take about, between my lupus medication, my medication for my heart, and my other medications, it's about 8 pills every 12 hours. I keep them in this container so that way I can remember to take them. And I have a reminder on Alexis to remind me to take my medication, which is a good thing that people might want to try to do. But also, I've been taking these because sometimes you get gassy when you're not able to get around much because you're having pain in your groin and you're having to lay down a lot. After the surgery, you'll be laying down flat for a while. It's important that you lay down flat so you're not putting pressure on your groin. And also, you don't want to lift anything that's over 5 to 10 pounds. The surgery has a bunch of stickers that they put all over your body to map your heart rate. These are electrodes, and once you take them off, they might leave a little bit of residue, and it might be difficult to get off with just plain soap and water. So using coconut oil and rubbing it before you even take off the stickers, the electrodes, helps them come off, and then rubbing it on after you wash it and during washing it as well. This has an antibacterial, so it's going to be really good to help keep it clean too. But lately, I have been dealing with the ice storm that Houston had. And Houston in Texas is an area where usually our weather does not get any colder than maybe 50 degrees on the average. And most of the time it stays in about the 70s or the 80s and can go up to the hundreds during the time frame of summer, and even sometimes in spring, and even sometimes in the fall, it can get into the hundreds. So for us to have weather that is super cold and actually have real snow, it only happens every like couple of 5 years maybe. And we actually had snow that was around for about 3 days, and we had major ice and freezing, which is not normal for us. Our system, our electrical system, was not prepared for it, and the state of Texas did not make any preparation at all. So we had to have rolling power outages. So basically what that means is that they literally were taking power from people in certain neighborhoods on a schedule. In the beginning, it started out and it was like all of a sudden the power went out at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to say it was on the 15th, which is basically Valentine's Day night, the 15th of February. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning where the power went out. And you're kind of thinking, you know, during an ice storm, it's going to go out and come back, go out and come back, but it didn't go out and come back. It literally was out and did not come back until about 2 days later. And when it did come back, we were thinking, okay, well, we've got our power back. We turn on the news, we hear that they actually were taking power out in certain areas, and then they were going to return power, and then do it again, which is called rolling power outages, because the electrical system in Texas could not maintain the power. And in certain places, they did not have this as an issue. I have friends who had never lost their power at all. And then there were people who lost their power and still don't have power right now. And we are on the 4th day since the ice storm. So now the snow has basically melted. We have still some ice on the road, but not much. Last night we did have another power outage. It lasted for a couple hours and came back this morning. And it is now 11:30. And basically we have been keeping this power for a couple of hours now. And I hope it's going to stay. Another issue is water, because once you have a problem with having a power outage, you will have a freezing of the pipes as well during these ice storms. So basically, we had some people who turned their water back on really quickly, and then they had a burst of water within their pipes that sometimes would explode through their house and maybe even cause damage to their ceiling and through their walls. So our neighbor actually, I think their whole ceiling fell in, and they just redid their bathroom. So basically, those things can happen and have been happening throughout Houston because no one had prepared for this freeze. So my husband right now was out fixing a neighbor's busted pipe that was outside of their house and leaking water. The downside of not having water, besides the fact it can cause damage to your home and when these pipes burst, and it can also give you no water to wash your hands or take a bath, is using the restroom. You can't use a restroom without a toilet that works. So you have to be creative. Like if you have a pool in your backyard, you can get some of that water and flush your toilet by putting it in the tank. You can also get water from your bottled water and put it in the tank, but that only lasts so long. So it's really important that we do have water and we do have electricity. But when you start to think about the real big picture and the fact that Texas is just a very small part of the world, there are places in the world where this is not an issue. And we have a lot of luxury in just having all of these things that we have in our life, like television, internet, running water, electricity, and heat. The hardest thing for me was because I was recovering from this ablation surgery, and the doctor said it would be 2 to 3 months before I could truly feel like I could get off my medication and be completely healed. I went into a lupus flare as well after the surgery. I needed my medication, and because my pharmacy was not open, because everything shuts down, the whole area was shut down. I think it was about 15 miles, 20 miles away that we actually had a store that was open. I couldn't get my medication, so I was in a lot of pain. It was very cold. It was like 20 degrees in my house during the time we didn't have any electricity. So I'm cold. I'm not able to use the facilities of, water, toilet, and I'm in a lot of pain. But most importantly, we didn't know when it was going to end. So I was scared that something could happen with my health, but I was also worried about my parents. I was also worried about my sons who would live other places, who have their own homes, and I was worried about my husband, who also has, autoimmune illness, and I was worried about my friends. So with all that concern going on, it was hard for me to sleep. And last night was a really good sleep finally because we had electricity that was returned and we had heat, and I felt a little better. But once again, what makes me feel even more blessed is knowing that we do have heat. We do have these luxuries, water that's available to us on a regular. And so I just want to say, if you're feeling like you're trapped, like I was feeling, if you're feeling helpless because of your health, or if you're feeling like you have, if you're feeling just depressed or despair about your situation, remember those who have less than what you do and take comfort in the fact that you are still blessed. Every time you're able to wake up in the morning and have a breath, you're blessed. Pray. This is the day after Ash Wednesday. So it's a time for us to reflect, to repent, to try to change our ways. And so it's a good time for us to remember during our suffering that our suffering is not that great. And it's a good time for us to remember that we have been saved by a higher power. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you cannot say that there's not a higher power in this world that constantly gives us blessings. And I do believe in Jesus Christ, so I can say that I'm saved by his blood, and I feel very blessed, and I know my blessings come from him. If you have to take medications like I do, organize them. Take this time to organize them so that way you can remember to take your medications. I set a reminder on Alexa, but if you don't have internet, you don't get that reminder. So it's a good idea to put them in this container so you can see when you miss your medications. If you do have this surgery and you're having to stay in the bed a lot, because you will have to lay flat for a long time, so not putting pressure on your groin, it's a good idea to get some of these. These are really good for gas that can build up. If you have those stickers on your body that come from having the electrodes mapping your heart after the surgery, and like I said, I'm still healing from but I had to take this bandage off, and what I use is this coconut oil to remove the bandages, and also those electrode stickers. I use the coconut oil. So those are just some few things that have helped me, but the most important thing that I try to keep close by is my Apple Watch. It does have a app for the electrode, for the EKG, I'm sorry. And it can record it once you put it on. It can tell you if you're having atrial fibrillation. After you have this surgery, it's not going to cure you immediately. Like I said, they're going to take me off of medicine in about 2 to 3 months if everything looks well. So it's really important that I have my watch still available to me, and I can continuously see if I'm having atrial fibrillation. And I can keep a journal as well to remind myself what's going on and to remind myself to tell my doctor about how I've been recovering. So I've survived so far with this ice storm and post my surgery, but I've been praying for all those who have not had the luxury that we have had. And it just gives you a little bit of insight on how a lot of the world lives without the internet, without electricity, without running water, without the good medical care and pharmacy that's available to them, and electronics that we have to help us. So remember that when you're suffering and when you're going through those times, that you're not alone, and you have survived so much, and we will survive more. So my time is up, and I just wanted to say I am blessed, and thank you so much for watching my video. I hope I have inspired or given some information that can help you through your struggle. That is my goal. And I will give you an update in a couple of weeks of what else is going on. And I hope you guys are staying safe, wearing your mask, washing your hands. And if anyone is feeling lonely or not getting the support they need during surgery or after surgery, I hope that you're able to give it to them. Thanks so much, and God bless.